And welcome back. Good morning. Hey everybody, welcome to what was formerly known as Wine and Mortgage is now Whatever and Mortgage. So, anywho, we're back and we've got a very special day today. It is Halloween podcast day. So I have two guests with me. I have Queen Candy and I have Kurt Cobain. I myself am a Viking commoner because I have seen Vikings and they look like warriors. I have no warrior gear on, but in my closet I have commoner clothes. So I'm a Viking commoner. Yeah. And so anyways, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to chat with our friend, but her real life name is Aimee Mancuso, but I'm going to let her introduce herself. So Aimee Mancuso, everybody.
All good. All good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, well, let's kind of get into the fun stuff. So, when did you start? When did you start in realty?
Let's see, 2019.
Is it close enough?
September of 2019.
You can move it, babe, if you want.
That
there
better?
You go. Yeah. So, when did you start?
2019.
2019.
And, yeah, it was right before the COVID outbreak, and so like I really thought my world was over. Like I was like, I'm not essential. You know, I freaked out. Okay, I was like, I just started in real estate, and I had just gotten my first sale like that February.
Okay.
It was just crazy. All of a sudden, like everybody's calling me to buy a house, and I was like, what? There's no way. Like, I'm essential, you know. So
you need me. The rates are what?
Yeah, and one of my first or second sales was like a really good friend of mine. Another one was, and I had like worked with previous. Sorry, let me kind of backtrack. I did apartment leasing for a while.
You did apartment leasing?
Yeah.
I had a friend who did that, and she used to always tell me, you'd be so good at this. And I'm like, now I'm lending, but it's a great gig.
All in the same industry, really, because you're talking to clientele who's prospecting. Mm-hmm. So it's, you know, you have to reach out. You have to do cold calling. You have to do, well, it's not really cold calling, I guess, but warm leads. And you're calling them all day.
Like, you know they need a place.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of, you know, that's how I saw these realtors coming in, and they were making bukus of money off me. I mean, I would lease the apartment, and they were getting the referral fee, and I'm like, for what? You know, like, what'd they do?
You just basically said, hi, this is Aimee.
Yeah, exactly. I came in, and I'm like, you know what? I need to be doing that.
Right,
so I went and got my license, and, you know, my husband was very supportive in that role, and, you know, my husband just had engaged me, like, that August, and so.
Just engaged you. He just
engaged me. No, it was funny. We got engaged, and it was funny because I was like, how am I going to pay for all this stuff? I was going to do this, and my husband played a huge role in that, and now my husband. But
it is so good to have a supportive spouse, whatever they are, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, whatever.
Yes, anybody who's willing to support you in the business.
Because it takes a little bit of support for those first couple of years. Because you know, but I bet you had a good book of business though. Did you did you stay in touch and contact with those people so that you were like, hey, do you need like a real house now?
Yeah, I know what's funny. I actually do still stay in contact with someone at my old company. Yeah, I worked for Graystar, so it was.
Okay.
I mean, I worked for Graystar, and I worked for a smaller company before them.
I was gonna say, so
kind of went around a little bit in that industry. I mean, I moved to California at one point, and between all of it.
When did you move to California?
When I was young and dumb, like 21.
Me too. You were.
I was 21, and I was like, "Bye, Dad."
Listen.
Oh my gosh.
I was in Cali from '97 to 07.
Oh my gosh.
So I went to college at Cal State Fullerton.
Oh, cool.
And then I did a lot of film work, but like talent coordinating, like behind the scenes type stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, I was doing office work and clerical work and like, cause I got the marketing degree, and I was like, I can't, like, I'm making more money doing this other stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was a theater major, but we switched that bad
tell.
boy. we switched that bad boy out. I feel like my confidence in like any sort of talent I might have came way later. But yeah, I was out there for a while, young and dumb. God, I totally remember 21 in California. Just stupid.
Well, yeah, you know, and I went and I came back, and it pretty much like chewed me up and spit me out.
But it's good though. It's good to get it.
It was one of those things where like I came home and I found another job within apartment leasing and took off right away. So that was, I mean, I have like these really cute awards that were like 10 apartment lease this month and stuff, and I'm like, you know, now I'm looking at it like, you know, oh my God, like 4 houses sold this month. So kind of all hand in hand goes together, and that's how I got started. And I think one of the things that I guess it, like I said, inspired me the most to do it in 2019 was like, well, what's next? You know, I'm 24. I think I was 24 at the time, and I was like, 25 maybe. Jeez. But yeah, I just was
You think to
thinking, what was I
yourself,
going to do?
What is next? Like I've done this, but can I make a career out of this? Is this something I want to do, or do I want to do what those people making money off of me, my work?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was going to climb. I really did. I thought I was going to climb and be an assistant manager and then be a manager, property manager. Then I quickly realized how badly I didn't want to be a property manager.
Sometimes that's what I'm saying. Right? Like one day you're like, this is not it. This is not what I want to do.
And I truly, one of the things that I truly enjoyed about it was the not having so much of the responsibility on.
I just don't want him to.
So
he's gonna pick up all of this.
I know, right? He's hilarious.
Just lay.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, I one of the things that I truly enjoyed was just like the being the face and not the responsibility of the problem. You know, I'd be like, okay, so I don't have to
the delegator. Like,
okay,
listen.
Yeah.
So I've got this issue. Call up your contractor. Call up your plumber. Call up your partners and say, hey. Just like now, you call up, like Sky, you're like, girl, I got somebody that needs to get a house.
Right
they
now.
have, this is their job. So that's good. You can delegate. And that's good because there's a lot of partners in this gig. So
Yeah, that's well. And actually, vice versa. I mean, you never know who you're going to run into.
Right.
You know, or Tejas Imagery. You know, you never know.
You know what I'm saying?
Or lending with
like,
Jen.
Hey, I need some pictures for this house that I got to sell.
Well, and like from a realtor's viewpoint, you know, you glanced on this earlier, but the people that you were dealing with in the apartment industry, you know, what I think we as business owners have to understand is the lifetime value of a client.
Oh, for sure.
You know, you may meet somebody, and this is what I hear you saying. You may meet somebody, and right now they're of no, and I hate to put it this way, but they're of no use to you. Okay, at this point.
Yeah.
But if you maintain that professionalism and you maintain that relationship, you never know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, what's tomorrow? They may just be your ideal client.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and you take them on, you treat them right. You know, maybe you give them some good discounts up front.
Yeah.
You build that relationship because, you know, not only personally but to your business, what are they of value to for you 30 years from now?
Well, also too, like, and that kind of like, I've been really, and I'm sure you can attest to this too, because you're a really likable person.
Thank you.
I've been, right?
Appreciate it.
So I think that's good in this business, because people that I generally meet, even if they're of no use to me, I generally just enjoy them.
Yeah.
And like hanging around with them and like doing things. So it's like that relationship just becomes a friendship, and then it's like, hey Jen, I think I might be ready now. Like, you know, and then you prep them or you get them ready. So it's really like, I always tell people, like, the biggest key thing for me, because, you know, everybody's always like, what's the secret sauce? How do you become? I'm like, honestly, I think yes, you have to know your business and you have to be knowledgeable about it, but you have to be willing to share it and share your knowledge for free without expecting anything of it.
Right.
And you have to be willing to like, you have to like people. Like, you have to like relationships. Because, like, some people who are introverts still like relationships, and they still do well. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, I think you're probably a really personable person with all of your people, too. I can totally imagine that.
You know what's funny?
Because you do pretty good to be so. Because how old are you? I forget.
I just turned 30 this year.
That's right.
So, yeah, I was like,
dirty 30s.
You know?
Dirty 30s.
God,
I was
so
still
funny.
dumb in my 30s. At least you figured it out earlier.
But you know, I absolutely detest that I put it the way I did, because as I'm looking back on it, it sounded really bad.
No,
But
it's okay.
It's
when
true.
I'm talking about
though.
of no
Like,
use to me, everybody has
No,
use.
yeah, you're stating the
You know,
facts.
it's
Yeah,
just-
Well, and I mean, it's
It
not
just-
like every opportunity is missed or something. It's more of like every opportunity comes your way, and if you find it a benefit, then, you know, and they find it a benefit, then, you know, it's not like, you know, there will be missed opportunities when you go, it wasn't very useful to me at the time, but, you know, then, like you said, looking back, moving forward, you know, like,
And the converse of that is that you're not always going to be people with everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
You know,
hey, some days,
it's just,
you meet me on a bad day.
yeah, oh, geez,
you know,
believe me.
sometimes
I was a loser. Or whatever day you might have met me on. You know what I mean? It might have been the day where my kid was driving me nuts. I was pissed off at my husband. I was just trying to get some food somewhere.
I'm just trying to survive.
Yeah,
You know, God. Well, and now
times in your life always generate whatever somebody's thought of you is.
But everybody you come into contact with, you know, I believe we have to treat them with respect. We have to treat them with with value. We have to value any kind of relationship that we have with them. It may just be I remember you. Yeah. But still, that relationship has value because that's like a seed planted that could flourish.
I think so. I think the best business, would you agree? The best business happens like osmosis.
Oh,
yeah.
It's just naturally happens. And because you know the stuff that you try and press, like we all know, our friends and family don't bring us butter. They do not bring us butter. They want us to do everything
like
for
really
free.
Bad butter.
Give me the best rate possible. Like I got to get you such a good rate that I'm not getting paid on this. Like
butter.
They don't. So it's really like I always
bread.
Because even
I prefer jam on my
So for those of you who don't know, so the connection how I know Aimee is I met Aimee through Sunny, who is a really good partner of mine. And so even with Sunny, me and Sunny always talk about how like your friends never become your butter, but your butter for some reason always becomes your friends.
Yeah. Every
friends
time.
for life.
Yeah.
Like if you really have that connection, it's like, girl, if you don't send me pictures of what you do to this house, I know your number. I know your address.
I'm always so
coming
invested.
over.
How's the baby? How's this? How's that? You know, like every few months, I'm like, oh crap, I haven't texted her. Like, oh yeah, how's she doing? And then I start wondering how her kids are and how she's doing. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I should just call her. Call her and I ask.
And it is like it's like you meet them in different stages of life. Like this one is a wild one. So I have a gal that and this was in Georgia. I put somebody, because I do in Georgia as well.
Oh, cool.
They were married, got their first house, did a refire for her when they divorced, and now she's in her second house. So I've done 3 things with this person. So it's like they split amicably, but I'm saying it's like you're a part of their life and you know what's going on, you know?
Exactly. No, I agree.
She's like, girl, I don't know what to do.
But I am so not that person. The person that you're talking about, that is not me. I'm the type, literally my best friend lives in Lake Jackson, and I might see her like every 6 months, every year or something like that. And we don't communicate other than just liking each other's Facebook posts or anything like that. And she's like, the second we get back together, boom! It's like there was never a day missed.
Those are your friends,
and that's my people.
Yes,
you know, and I'm horrible about
my high school
that
and college friends are like that. Shout out to all my high school and college friends.
Even with like clients and stuff, I'm just like, as a business owner, I should do better. I expect to be like, oh yeah, we haven't talked in a year. Oh well, yeah.
Let's be real about this too. If you're a likable person, you probably have a lot of people that you talk to. Yeah. So sometimes it gets hard. So I tell people,
that does.
If I'm ever reaching out to you randomly, trust me, it's not randomly. Nah. If I think of you, I'm going to hit you up.
That's how I felt too.
If I'm thinking of you, I will hit you up. I don't care how long it's been since we've talked. Be like, I was thinking of you today. And it's the truth.
Yes.
Like, I'll hit people up I haven't seen in years. Be like, hey,
I have this thing with a girlfriend of mine that I say, check in. Like, hey, you checking in? I'm checking in. You know, and she's like, I'm actually having a really bad day. Like, what's up? And I'm like, oh, hey, like, let's talk.
Perfect time.
So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be, like, super special. I'm very touch and go where I'm like, okay, hey, I have a toddler and a husband who's hungry a lot, and you know what I mean? He works a lot too, so I'm like always, you know, trying to keep things moving for us, right? And so I seldomly forget about my friends, or I'll hide for like a day. I'll go.
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah, some of my friends are like, "Hey, Mama, just checking in on you," you know. And
like 2 days later.
Yeah, I'm fine. Like, I think I'm good, you know. I mean,
but it's
so bad.
I did that, but I didn't. You know, it's wild. I don't get upset when my friends do that.
Right, yeah.
Like, because one of my besties, like Janelle from like high school, hey Janelle, like she will ghost me. Like I'll send her but she's busy. She's just doing stuff.
Oh, sometimes my friends will send me the meme that's like the little girl in Nemo and she's knocking on the glass and they're like, hey, are you there? Okay? Are you there? You know? And I'm like, oh shoot, sorry, I forgot to reply.
Sometimes you reply in your head.
It's so innocent. Yeah, you're like, because crap.
Yeah, because she'll finally reply back, and then I'll reply back like 8 weeks later, like, oh my god, I'm glad you replied.
Yeah, right.
You know, but there's a difference between like busies sometimes. You know what I mean? She's busy because she's like a thespian, like she's like a true like on Broadway type stuff. So she's auditioning. She sews clothes. Like she's like a different type of busy. You know what I mean? Cool. Like I'm busy where like my kid's in my lap sleeping, I'm tickling his back before he goes to bed, so I can be like, Hey, what you doing? You can do all those check-ins, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But, oh my goodness, we totally digressed into that.
We did.
Totally.
But again, there's a loop to this.
Yeah.
Right? How we're sitting here at night. Amy's got time. If you have a question at 9 o'clock at night,
This is true.
she's available.
I am.
We are not 9 to 5ers.
No, my God.
And I love that.
I think I call myself a 24-hour.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like you're always on call.
Yeah.
I tell people I'm essentially a doctor.
I have a client who actually. Oh, really? Yeah, I mean,
Essentially,
all
we're
the time.
doctors.
We're market doctors. That's
You
funny.
need a new
Actually,
house? I can surgically put that there for you.
Right? I'm here. That is so funny. Last night I did have a repeat client call me, and God bless her, she's like, I'm having trouble with my neighbors. I'm ready to go. I want to move. Yeah, and then she's putting me on the phone with her boyfriend who also wants to move, and he's got a house. And I'm going like, I just answered this call at 8 o'clock at night. She actually messaged me on Facebook.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah, she's like, are you awake? Can you call me? And I was like, yeah. And this has happened actually a few times, and thank God my clients know that I am there. Like, it's amazing. I have another couple who called me, and they were like, okay, we found this house we love. We want to try and get it, and we want to sell like tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, here's the steps, and they're like, oh crap, we forgot about that step. We can't do it right now. But they're calling me because I'm ready to go. And I had them set up with Skylar, ready to like refinance their house and sell, and it was just like, I mean, it was so beautiful. I was like, why people are thinking about me at 10 o'clock at night?
You know, because that's when people decide to have a house. They're literally in bed and they're like, babe,
looking for
I can't
HAR,
take these walls anymore.
We gotta go.
Let's sell.
We gotta go.
Yes,
We
they're
gotta
like,
go.
oh, babe, I'm pregnant. We gotta move. We gotta get a bigger house and a room,
right? Okay, so here's the thing though. I always, I want to bring this up because I love that people reach out to me anytime, but I have a lot of people reach out to me on Facebook, which I love. My people, because I am licensed in every state I've lived in.
Oh, nice.
So it's like, if you know me, I always will remind people, I'm like, just so you know, if I know you and you live in the state that we met in, I can do your loan. So it's like, but if that person happens to be somebody from like the gym, Gold's Gym, when I was working at Gold's Gym in Georgia, and it's like we never had personal contacts. You reach out to me because we're friends like that because you took my classes or whatever. There has to be a point where you are ready to move from the Facebook Messenger. When I put my email in my text, because I will lose. We will lose that thread because Facebook is like, I get so many random messages. I wanted to private it out, but I don't want to private it out because then it's like people can't see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So you got to bridge over to, now you have my cell phone. Text me from here on out.
Let's talk like adults.
Because sometimes, and it's not that, but it's like sometimes I'll have missed a message and it's like, damn, it's been a month and I didn't respond. You probably think I'm a jackass. I just didn't see it.
No, I know Messenger doesn't give me notifications, and
especially
I'll
if they
miss half of them.
Especially if they're too nervous to add you as a friend, but they see you and it goes in
your
other box.
Request messages.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm like, how many things are there?
I mean, there's a request message box. There's a marketplace box. There's an inbox. I'm like, listen, Messenger. Why don't you just
You're getting carried
put
away.
one box and then just put it, this is from...
Oh, geez.
This is from Marketplace.
And then we have those clients that insist upon having the entire conversation on Messenger.
Yes.
That can be.
Yes. Yeah. And that's frustrating too because it only lets you have so many characters.
Yes. But it's like...
I ran out of room.
We've got all these photography packages that we offer our realtors and everything.
Yes.
And they're like, well, what does this package have in it? Well, tell me about this package. How much is this one? And all this kind of stuff. And you're just like...
That's why they say call
can I send
to
you a link?
About.
Can I send you a link that has all of our packages on it?
Yeah.
Why, sure. Okay. And then 2 minutes later, well, tell me about this package. Well, tell me about how much does this pay?
That's generally when I say, hey, give me your number because this is hard.
Yeah, let me give you a call.
Let me just call you.
Yeah,
oh, geez, it's annoying.
I do like to talk more than I'll text, I'll be honest.
A lot of the younger kids love a text, but I tell them all the way, I'm like, listen, I love texting, but if something is of serious nature that I need from you, I'm gonna say, hey, I'm calling you. Pick up the phone.
Right?
Because even with emails, if my underwriter has an issue with my file, don't send me emails that freak me out, and then I have all these questions that pop up, and then you just keep emailing one answer at a time. Like, I'm having a hernia. Pick up the phone right now.
It's so funny. Yeah.
I prefer the written forms of communication. And I'll tell you why.
Just not on Facebook. See, I like talking over the phone. I'm super old school.
I would rather email. I love email. You know, I love text, messenger, but I do like having a phone call about, you know, this is our introductory stuff.
Yeah.
Let's decide. Now let's go to a written form, because so many times these people will call while we're driving down I-45.
Oh, yeah. And
you know,
don't really can't remember.
And they're like, here's the address, here's the lockbox code to get in. And I'm like, I will not remember this.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
So you have something you can look back on, you know, with that written
That is,
form.
that is always nice. I always say follow up with like,
what's your
email, or send me a text and remind me about that. Or
Yeah,
I do because I mean, let's be honest, mommy brain is real. Like,
for real, and it lasts forever.
Mommy brain, wife brain. Yeah, oh my God, Sam, like don't give me any hope.
Wait till you have grandparent brain.
Where you're obsessed with the kid?
No, you just forget everything.
Obsessed with the kid the kid gave you.
But as grandparents, I will say this, because my mama was much harder on me than she is Brayson. I feel like grandparents is like y'all's payback.
Yes.
Y'all juice them up. Y'all let them do whatever they want, and then send them back home. And I'm like,
that is a rite of passage.
Who are you talking to?
Oh, yes.
That's
my
exactly
son
what that
is.
is.
For Hot Wheels right now, thanks to Sissy.
Very nice. My mom does have rules, which Brayson's like, you have so many rules, Grandma. But he still gets to, you know,
break them.
Right. Anyways.
I mean, that's what they're for. Grandparents, that's what they're for.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do give kudos to all of us ladies, and kudos to the men too, because I mean they're fathers. But like it's like when you have that family at home and you're doing the business that we do.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes yes, that brain of I still am like the holder of the family. I gotta cook tonight. I gotta make sure he makes it to baseball, and then after that, I gotta make sure he does his homework. Yeah. And then all the projects that they're giving you, where I gotta have grits to go to school tomorrow, and the pop rocks.
Grits. I want to go to this school.
Pop rocks and grits, they're like volcanoes. You know what I mean?
Shrimp
So like all this stuff, and then one day you're like, oh my God, I forgot to do that because I was over here pre-approving blah blah blah. So.
Of course, yeah. Well,
but so tell me and tell us all of in the Wonderland out there. So what is like if I came to you and I said, "Hey, I'm interested." What's your kind of layout for like how things work? How do you describe the process?
First, I really kind of find out where you're at in your journey. I mean, because sometimes people will come to me and they've already talked to a lender and I don't know that, or they'll come to me and say, I want this house. That's normally how it happens, right? Somebody sees the house and they're like, I want this house. And you're like, okay.
And I want to buy it today.
I gotta breathe, right? I gotta breathe and go, okay, where are you at? Like, have you talked to a lender? Have you...
She's like, I'm sitting in front of my lender right now.
Right? I'm like, hey girl.
Are you pre-approved?
Well, and it's too funny too, because I'm actually like, well, I mean, yeah, I'll be calling you too. But one of the things that I think of is like, yeah, I'm like, who have they talked to? Do they know anybody in the area? I'm like, they could have called you, Jen, and then like, I have Skylar.
Like, how did you...
Like, I'm ready to work with you though. You know what I mean? I'm like, if you have your own lender, let's go. If not, then I'm starting up. I'm like, okay, my process is first I need to get you in contact with Skylar. I'll say Skylar, Laura, whoever's going to help me today. I work with both of them. They're great. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, let's see. So we've got our lending process knocked out, right? We say, okay, I've got you set up with Skylar. We're good to go. Now, tell me about this house.
Yep.
All right, tell me about this house and what was so amazing about it and why do you have to have it today? I'll go do my research and I look and it says multiple offers and you've got this, and that. Then I'm like, guys, let's be realistic.
I don't know if we're ready.
Let's be real.
Yeah, and then if we are ready, I'm like, I have flipped it around in one day where we put an offer in that night and it was beautiful because they got pre-approved within that same day.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. But if they don't, then my next process would be, okay, let's start looking. We can't get this house, unfortunately, but let's start looking.
Yeah.
Move forward, and that's kind of how I start working. I never make my people. I know this is bad. I never
no, it's
make
probably
my
not
people.
bad. It's whatever works for you. So I want to know, what is it?
Well, I never make my people sign the buyer's rep agreement up front.
There's a lot of realtors that do that, and genuine. I will say in general, when a realtor does not make you sign it, it's because they have enough business that they are going to trust you. It's like the honor system.
Well, and I'm very fortunate for that too.
That's what, and it makes it a little
more personable. I'm not
it's
trying
like
to force you into
contracts.
contracts.
I don't want you to work with me if you don't like me.
Exactly.
Because that's uncomfortable.
It is. And so I really don't like to hold people to that nature.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I mean, contracts are
like your broker would, like Chrissy would be like, stop doing that.
I know. She's like, she's like, hey girl, you need to start, Actually, it has bit me a few times. It really actually has. There has been some times where I've lost a sale or missed opportunity or, because of that. Or because, I didn't hold them to it and they started talking to this realtor. But that was, that's something that's going to happen every single day.
Sometimes.
It happens in insurance.
First-time home buyers, yeah. And if we could take this moment to educate my first-time home buyers, because this just happened recently.
Oh, yeah.
So, sometimes people will come to me from my realtor partners, or sometimes people will come to me because they were referred to me and they already have a realtor but they want to use me as a lender, or however it happens. But sometimes I will be with someone, with my partner, and then as first-time home buyers, and they didn't sign it, all of a sudden, like, I get a call from a different realtor. And so this happened. It's an older couple, so they're not first-time home buyers, but it's like they haven't bought a house in like 50 years, right? So I just had multiple realtors calling me, and I was like, I will be happy to give you anything. I was like, but just
right? Which one was first?
But sometimes they don't realize, like, no, this is commission, so if we don't close, like, I'm not just getting, I'm not getting paid to drive you around and stuff. And sometimes they'll just walk into a house and like it, and they will call the listing agent themselves.
Yes, and that's a very hard thing too.
Thinking
that's hard to navigate.
That, hey, I'm going to save money. No, you don't pay for whenever somebody lists a home, that seller pays everything for the listing. It's 6% to list a house, and then whatever percent was given, if they gave them a discount, it's like 5%. It's always split between the buyer's agent and listing agent. So if you have an agent like as someone buying a home, you're not paying for them. So don't just think, I'm going to go here and I'm just going to go straight to the listing agent. You're not saving any money. You're doing yourself a disservice because that person doesn't. That person doesn't represent you.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that happens.
But it does happen. Yeah. It really does. And by no means do I think it was done purposeful, or we will just in our head think they're lovely people. They would never do that on purpose.
I have so many friends too who are like, okay, don't get mad. I went to another realtor, and honestly, that's my fault because I did not market myself great enough to this person to make them think that I was capable. So every time somebody tells me like, I need help, even though they had another realtor, I'm like, okay, what you need? Have you ended your agreement with them? And so I'm there to jump in. And now I've never been one to go with this person instead of this person, and because I feel like
it's not our place. Yeah, it's like I'm going to give you information.
Yeah. And, so I mean, if they call me for help, then
we both worked for free, right?
Oh God, we have
so many times, but we don't mind because it's again.
And you know what? I get referrals off of working for free because I did a service to someone when they really needed it, and it wasn't. They wanted me to show a house real quick, or like my uncle, he calls me. He said, "Hey, I have a friend. He's already got a realtor. She can't let him in the house. Will you go let him in?" And I was like, "I will do that for you." Yeah. And then guess what? I got a referral off it because he said, I'm trying to sell my house. So I mean, he was like, I got another friend trying to sell his house, and we did that. So it does pay off. I mean, pay it forward. Always pay it forward.
Yeah. Right now, the biggest thing that I'm doing is people who are like, hey, I need to refi, cash out, going through divorce, need to buy out, like do an OLT, and I'm like, listen. I see that your rate is really good. I'm like, just do a HELOC. I can't do it for you, but I have partners that I can suggest to you.
Can't beat it. Yeah.
But it's like, no, just take that little money to buy the person out and put it in a second mortgage. Don't touch this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then later when the rates drop, we'll put them both together. but yeah, like sometimes it's like, no, like, yes, we're commissioned, but fortunately, when you're in the business long enough, it's a very fortunate thing to know that you do enough business that you can truly give honest business.
Yeah.
Like, and it's business that there's no expectation of anything other than please listen to me and take my advice.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's so many realtors out there who are unethically working. I mean, it's like, is that the right word? I'm gonna say or super unethical. I mean, just every single time.
Yeah, in every Yeah, I know.
Right, and so and I just keep.
It's like
crossing them and-
whose license number is that?
Yeah, I'm like, you got one? Yeah, do you even have one? Yeah, is it expired? Gosh,
We have fired more than one.
That's
of
your
those.
that's your aunt's license number. Okay.
Your sister's brother.
So where do you get most of your leads? Do you think
through my sphere? So
your sphere of influence? Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, let's
Like when people like the most recent time or the most recent that's happened, you're like, how'd you hear about me or how'd you come my way?
Okay, so let's see. I had a repeat client just come to me through a friend of mine who set me up to sell his house like 2 years ago.
Okay.
I told, and it's even funnier. Now I'm going to be listing his friend's house coming up. Actually, our listing appointment's tomorrow afternoon. But I am cracking up because I'm telling this guy it's my husband's best friend from his old job, and I'm like. His name's Michael Bugby. I go, shout out to Bugby.
Hey.
He's so funny. I go, man, I'm going to have to start, like, dropping off a weekly case of beer at this guy's house. I was
Seriously?
like, because I'm like, thank you for all of the business you've sent me. And funny enough is that it started from my husband referring me out at work, where I've helped, like, almost 4 or 5 of his, I think 5 now.
My husband will be referring me to be my biggest champion.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten a lot of sales off it. He's my biggest cheerleader. And, I mean, thank God, because, I mean, half of it was during the time of COVID. So I listed about 3 of his coworkers' houses during that time.
Is awesome.
And now it's over abundance through my sphere, which is beautiful. And sometimes, like I said, I lose some of my sphere. Like, I had a girlfriend of mine, she was looking for a house, and we were looking for a few months, and then all of a sudden her boyfriend bought a house, and she moved in with him, and I was like, dang it.
I miss that.
I miss that. But I was
anytime
supportive
somebody's
of her.
like, so we did a thing, I'm like,
I know,
whoa, who
what'd
was
you
your
do?
lender?
What'd you do? I know.
You're like it, but you're like, right?
And I
Yeah.
was
So happy for you.
She was so scared to tell me, and she's been my best friend since like. Well,
Don't y'all feel bad.
now, but
If we drop the ball, we drop the ball.
exactly. That's why I said it was my fault because I didn't follow up with her over the next few months. And
Don't
I think
be mad.
it was so funny. She came to my grandfather's funeral, and she's like, "Okay, don't be mad, but I moved in with my boyfriend, and blah, 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 and he bought a house." And I was like, "It's okay." I was like, "I don't know your boyfriend, and I'm not gonna be like."
The next thing out of their mouth is usually, and he went out and found a realtor.
I know, right? Like something,
Like he overpowered me and chose someone and said,
twisted my arm.
It's always the spouse's fault.
But I was so happy for her anyway, because I was like, I've known her my whole life, and I thought like, you know what? She's never in my life. I've never seen her have a boyfriend like this. So I was like, you go, girl. Like, go ahead, move on in that house, but call me when you're ready to sell it.
That is
I'll be
awesome.
there.
I know. I always tell people like right now, any deal that I'm losing and it like it's in the moment right now.
Yeah.
Any deal that I've lost or it happened where like it's like they went with their parents' lender or whatever it is. I'm like, I'll catch you on refi.
I mean,
because all of y'all shopping rates right now, you all gonna refi anyways.
I'm
You're
trying.
all
I'm
gonna
like,
refi.
What's going on over here? Well, it's funny. Nobody could beat my rate right now. I'm sure. We were at a 3.1 and then we sold and went to a 5 because we just had to have this house. But
Wait, you got a 5? When did you buy?
Oh, 2 years ago, almost. Oh my God, was it?
Oh yeah, so right after COVID. So when they were climbing,
2020, beginning of 2022.
So when they were starting to climb, isn't that crazy? That
we literally got in the door. We had a 4.25, and then the interest rate went up like 2 days before.
Isn't
we
it
locked.
crazy?
I know.
It's so crazy.
I know.
It's so crazy how it happened. But yeah, right now we're sitting. I think we're at like 2.5, 2.25. I can't even remember. But my husband was like, "We either gonna die in this house." Or we're just gonna keep it and rent it out and then get it. Pay cash for it. I don't know, but
it's
like you don't want to. Yeah.
How that works, and I mean, like honestly,
They're
the market right now
high
is
sevens right now.
My father-in-law asked me last night. He said, "What's the interest rate lately?" And I said, "Well, it depends on how you're buying. If you want a mobile home, it's 9. If you want, you Clayton Homes, it's like 8.25.
If you're doing non-traditional." It's high.
Yeah.
If you're doing broker loans, they're like I don't have income to show. Like those are going to be 11, 12.
Oh my god.
Maybe 13. But like if you're doing down payment assistance, I think the state rates right now are in the 8s.
Stop
8.5, girl.
Okay, so what's the highest? So I know that you have the highest tier of it. What would that be? if you wanted more, the more money you...
Right, so you can get like the 2%, 3%, 4%, or 5%. Which, let me tell you this too, T-Shack started doing like the whole, they're charging a point type thing, so so if you get 2%, 1% of that's gone, you only got 1% from them, so it's like, was it worth it? So it's like, get the 3 or the 4 or the 5. But gosh, I'd have to double check today,
nice.
But I think there's one as high as 8.75.
That's wild. Okay, so let me repeat this back. They are charging you money to buy down your rate, but they're giving you the money to buy down your rate, and so you don't get to use that money towards your closing costs.
Well, you're not.
You can, but
you're not buying down. You can't buy down the rate when you do down payment assistance.
See,
you're
that's
giving
what I was
the rate.
wondering. Okay,
You're giving the rate from either T-Shack or Seth or whatever down payment you're using. But if they give you 2% of the purchase price, is what they're giving you. Is the either the gift or the 3-year deferred, right? So let's say you're buying a $300,000 house, which it's income based. So let's just say you're buying a $250,000 house, right? So $250,000 house. If you do the 2%, you're only getting $5,000. Right. They're charging you a point, so you're literally getting $2,500 towards your down payment.
See, that was okay. So wow.
So that's what I mean. So some people are just so tight.
So you have to charge a point? They have to charge a point for you to get that?
Well, it's a give and take, depending on their credit and how much the lender can absorb of that.
Okay.
But there is that costly in there because when, just so y'all know, whenever a lender does down payment assistance, there's no money made on that loan. We do it as a courtesy because we want to.
That's beautiful.
Well, for our partners and for the people who need it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why they have that charge in it, because it's like, I always say, if something looks like it's coming to you for free, no, something's paying for it. So that's why there's these little hidden things. So I always tell them, like, I'll give you all the information, and yes, absolutely, we can do down payment assistance. But if you don't need it, and you think you might be able to get $2,500, maybe you can get $500 from 5 close family members. We can do 5 gift letters, and then you don't need to take the 8.25 and only get $2,500 back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's what I know. It's weird. It's convoluted. There's a lot going on, but that could be a whole nother video. But.
Is that kind of like I've heard of some lenders recently when the rate started going up, to take the rate out of the equation for the buyers, they started offering a refi when the rates go down for free.
Oh. Wow.
There's some lenders that will try and do programs like that, and it won't be for free. It'll just be like a lender credit on our part. We're still going to pay for title, because title's, unless title. But sometimes title will say, hey, if you purchase with us during the refi boom, come and we'll give you a cut. Okay. So that's when you have to, like your partners, you have to get together and say, what's everybody's deals? Yeah. What are we doing? Yeah. Right? So, because everything is third party other than the lender fee when it comes to...
That is true, yeah. Well, and y'all, I guess origination fees and...
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So, because we were doing that for a while, where it was like when the rates first started going up. It was like, hey, we're going to do this and you'll get a refi for free. We were doing that for a while. But then the rates, and then it started, when rates climb and things... When things adjust and it's like, okay, now we're losing money if we do it, we have to cut the program. So it's like things will be cut. It's like we're always wanting to do the best we can for you. Like every place you go to. I don't care who it is. Like they're all competing to not only get the business, but do the best business for you. Right. But it's just, it's always who's the mastermind and how is it packaged.
Yes. Sorry, my wig is itchy.
Girl, but you're so cute though. Look at your roots. Look at your roots.
They hanging out.
But yeah, so it's like, it's just like, how can we package this? How can we do it? So it's like, I will always find the silver lining in whatever you as my buyer are doing right now. And I will say, this is where we're at. This is how we can make it work. And in the future, this is what we're going to do. Yeah. Just suck it up and buy the house. If you like it, buy it. Don't wait it out. Because hell, if you wait it out, what's gonna happen? You're gonna get $50,000 over for the house.
I know, and it seems like people are really listening to that recently.
They are.
Because
there's more buyers out there.
We've gotten crazy busy. And usually we're on the front end of things. So when we get busy, that means it's going to pick up.
And I'm going to start calling you to find out what listings are out there.
Right.
I'm also telling listing agents. I'm like, instead of, because when they'll sit, because sometimes they'll sit in markets like this. So it's like, instead of decreasing the price, take the price down minimally, or keep it the same and just say, we'll give this much towards closing or whatever.
I've been doing that.
That's better because
I've been offering
honestly,
$1,500. I have a condo for sale. $1,500 towards closing costs. So
yeah, because sometimes it's like if on those particular ones, without getting too messy and too mathematical and just keeping it simple, let's just say, for shits and giggles, keeping it easy, I'm buying $100,000 house, and we just said the rates are at like 7.5, almost 8. Just like 7.5, right? I could lower that to 90,000, right? Rates still at 7.5.
You're still gonna make it up.
Or I can keep it at 100,000 and give 3,000 towards closing costs because if they're going conventional, that's all you can do. If they're going FHA, we can do 6,000. Okay, 6,000 is essentially 6%, 6 points. I could buy the crap out of that rate down, and have a cheaper payment at buying it for 100,000 with help from the seller. And you still get 4,000 if you gave 6,000 back rather than lowering it to 90.
I get it.
Right? I know that's a lot of math, but you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm telling people. I'm like, listen, if you just try to make it work for everybody, it's like just give concessions.
I do sometimes have a lot of clients who will choose to ask for the price to come down, and I'm like, don't do it.
Seller concessions.
Yeah, because
it's a secret.
I really, you know what? A lot of people don't know about it. They're like, oh, the seller will do that for me. Sometimes I even, like you said, I even offer it up front. Like, I had a sale one time where the bathtub was a walk-in bathtub, and nobody wanted that thing. And, of course, we changed the bathtub out, and it was like that, right? I mean, but even after I had offered $3,000 in seller concessions for the tub to be replaced, this and that, people did not want it. They thought, like, well, we want the price of the house down. And I'm like, more power to you. Like, sure. And my seller's losing bottom line either way. You know what I mean? So whatever you want to do it. But
that's why sometimes it's healthy. And again, that's why the relationships and the partnerships, we're not trying to steer you or do that stuff that's like, but generally had your seller who's like doesn't want the house, then you'd be like, Jen, can you talk them through this? And then I'd be like, no, honestly, the seller concessions would be better than a lower price because here's your payment at the lower price.
I wouldn't say it's steering. I definitely say it's educating.
But you know what I mean? That's what I mean. It's like because like when you say, hey, I have somebody you can call Skylar. Like you're not telling them only use Skylar, but you're saying I have a relationship with Skylar. Skylar and I talk. Skylar and I. When you're people that are doing business for you talk, it just makes everything easier.
Yeah. And I definitely, if they do have their own lender, I try to jump in there and go, hey, I'm so and so. I'm going to be working with them.
Absolutely.
You want to build your relationship.
They got to know each other
for sure. Same thing if like they pick their own photographer. I'd be like, okay, well let me call him and make sure we're friendly and everything's good to go and he knows what I need and he knows what he needs from me and. You know, so that, it's all about your relationships for sure.
And I can guarantee you the only time Aimee would be like, no, that's going to be a problem is if you come to her and say, I'm using this person that lives in, New York. They work with Rocket Mortgage. They work with Rocket Mortgage. She will never be able to contact the person when she needs them. And I love Rocket Mortgage. You do your thing.
It is so funny.
I'm so hard on them.
I know. And I have a client who was like ready to go and wanted to go to them. And I was like, look, let me call him first. And of course, I didn't get to the person.
Sometimes if you did, though, it'd have been a set.
I did it. And I called him back and I said, look, it took me 3 times to call this person and I should have gotten an answer within a day or at least a phone call back or whatever. I said, so what does that tell you? He's answering your calls, not mine. So if there's a problem and you don't really know what's going on and I need to get a second opinion on it, then, this guy's not going to answer my phone call. But I can call Skylar or whoever in 2 seconds, they're ready to go. So that's the way I portray it too is like, do you want front end service or back end service? Like someone at the back of the house or the front of the house.
Right. And then if that person, had that person at Rocket Mortgage answered her call the first time and created a relationship, same thing would have happened that happened to me. Because I was working at Wells Fargo and I was that one who would answer and all of them were like, I want to work with you. I need you to leave the banks. She'd be like, I want to work with you. I need you to leave Rocket Mortgage. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like that's what I mean. It's like if you are available, that's what I'm saying. Rocket Mortgage gets so many leads that they're not hungry enough. They just, because it's all online.
Following up, well, and then they'll send it to the realtor who doesn't care about you. And, I honestly, honest to God, it makes me so angry because there's people out there who are like, just there for the paycheck, you know, and I get the bad reputation for it, you know. So
It's
that's
like the
This was an
Walmart.
awful experience, and then you're like, hey, just a side note.
I'm not like that.
It's like the Walmart
She's
of
not
real
like
estate.
that.
One thing that sets me aside, I will say, thank God for the help of my broker, Christy, and Sunny. They're amazing. They made a whole buyer's guide for us, and I've been able to tweak it to my knowledge, to what I do and my name, and you know, and I tell my story on it. And so many of my clients have been like, send that over to me, and they won't look at it. It's so funny. I'll be like, did you look at your buyer's guide?
Yeah.
And
They are
then,
really great with that.
yeah, you know, or I'll say, okay, earnest money is going to be a big thing. Go look at your buyer's guide. You know, so that's been so helpful, and it sets
Buyer's
us apart
guide
from a
is
lot of people.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? It honestly kind of changed my world a little bit too, because there's things I forgot about in school where I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about this part. Oh crap, I forgot Title did that. You know,
Check it out. Check it out.
Yeah.
So I need to get some stuff to Sunny for her buyer's guide
Yeah.
about the lending part of stuff. And you should get Skylar to get, and then it's like a whole,
yeah.
did you check your buyer's guide that has like your lender's info in there too?
Yeah. Well, I think you're on my list in there too. I
Are
have,
you?
yeah.
Oh, get
I
on
know. I have about 4.
Sunny, I know you're part of that.
And she was in there. With
Yeah,
me,
we
and
do
I
have
was
that. We
like,
do have the 3 rule. Yeah.
Yeah, and
But-
so, well, actually, I have like 4 on there, I think. But I
Oh, no,
mean,
that's
just
even better.
because,
The information
there's so
is
many
good.
people do different things.
Yeah.
You know, so like maybe if the investors at Amoco won't pick up, or the investors at AmCap don't pick up, then I'm going to be calling Jen. You know what I mean?
Benny.
So
You're interrupting a good point. Continue. I'm sorry.
Good, you're good. Benny,
So yeah,
because-
if they don't pick up, you got this other
and
one.
you've got other ones. Well, and it's not even if they
Yeah.
don't pick up, but there might be like, you know, for example, I just experienced this with a client. Like the investor would not pick it up at AmCap. He was like, no, like
Some
we
people
don't
have
do
weird
barn
feelings.
dominions.
Yeah, some people have weird feelings about different because of whatever their experience was.
Oh, for
Like
sure.
I love Texas Roadhouse, or some people are like, nope, and then I'm like, well, you went to the one in Webster, you got to go to the one. You know what I mean?
All right.
But yeah, it's like I don't know who you worked with at Guaranteed Rate before,
Yeah.
but I am not it.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah.
so that's what I always say. It's
But
nice to
it
have the
happens.
options open.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because you never know who's going to be able to pick that up in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like say somebody canceled my pictures and I'm calling you and I'm like, John, I need these done tomorrow. And you go, okay, I'm on it. I'm ready to go.
Right.
You know, and it's just good to have those relationships.
Yeah.
So,
The more you know, the more you have around you,
Yeah.
the bigger your circle. Like it's always good to just have, you know, and even sometimes too, I say, surround yourself with people who are very different from you too.
Yeah.
Different. Hear me out. I don't know how to describe it, but different personalities with the same character of workmanship always do well.
Oh, yeah. Ethics.
I think character and personality are
Morals,
very different, right?
ethics.
So it's like character-wise, I do good business. Character-wise, good business, right? Character-wise, good business. If we all have different personalities, how that helps is because you have a bigger sphere of people you can help as a group.
And
Yeah.
educating each
Because
other,
we
yeah.
all know that every buyer has a different set of like how they like to do business, how they feel. So it's like if we're all doing good business, but we all do business differently, that's sometimes a good thing. So
Oh,
it's like
for
the more
sure.
the merrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you can pick each other's brains, and you have more brainstorming power.
Right.
You know, because I mean, there's so many different
Options.
ways to do stuff and options, and like you don't really like. You don't, if you close yourself off to that, and you close yourself,
Yeah.
if I would have closed myself off to doing this podcast today, then I would, you know what I mean? I would.
You would have never
learning
known how
about
much
other-
fun you would have had with us.
Exactly, and I'm like learning about other stuff with you guys too, and
Right?
so there's a lot of like I said, missed opportunities if you close yourself off to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
that was one of my goals this year was to be like get out and be
And
more,
do stuff.
Yeah,
Because even people who aren't in the business, sometimes the more you talk about your business, with even just people
Yeah.
in general, sometimes they'll say something and you're like, fuck, I never thought of that.
yeah,
Because you're in this little box of business and you're like, that makes sense.
Yes.
Or sometimes I'll have like when I lose a deal and they say somebody else got it done, that will kill me. So
Yeah.
I'll literally call all my lender friends. I'm like, what did I miss? What did they do?
yeah.
What is it? Like, I want to know, is it something that they were able to get away with because their guidelines are different, their layovers are different, what did I miss?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you could have, and you're like, oh my God, I totally could have. You know what I mean?
You just don't realize it until it's done. And I mean, there's several times I have beat myself up over that too. Where I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to follow up with them. Or, you know, and life happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're only as good as your mistakes.
Yeah.
If you never made a mistake,
learn for the next time, then you know. And I mean, it's like, you just,
gotta jump.
like you said, if you keep conducting good business, you know, people aren't going to fault you with that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, as long as I always go by ethics and morals. Like, is this right? Is like, for instance, right now I'm going through something with a sale where like they never turned in the deposit or the
earnest money.
Deposit for the lease back or or paid them.
Oh.
And when they went to go cash the checks, they bounced. And so,
oh, no.
yeah. And so now they're like refusing to give the deposit. And I'm like, listen, moral code in my life says do what's right.
Yeah.
And what's right is what's on that contract.
Yeah.
And if you don't turn it in, you are legally deciding not to do this. Like, I'm sorry, you are legally binded to this contract and you are deciding to not abide by it. You know, and so that was something I just repeated. And I'm thinking, this agent should know. Like, this is ethics. This is moral code of conduct, you know, like how you just treat other people, you know. Would you want them to just short you out your $1,000?
I've seen some rough things like that where somebody's 3 days out of closing and walks away because they found another house.
Stop it,
girl. This happened a few years back. It happened a few years back, and I actually met a really great realtor, like partner of mine through this. But it was something where it was like they pulled out the girlfriend decided, no, I don't want this, I want this house. And then just went with the listing agent. Like, I'll tell you how that happens.
Yeah.
And then dropped everything, and then just, but the listing agent, we got a lot,
she
right?
lost her earnest money.
but I remember telling the borrower this kind of stuff. I was like, just so you know, I am assuming, because I've been in the business long enough, you closing in 3 days on a house that they own, they are probably waiting for that equity to purchase their house that is also closing in 3 days.
Right. That's a bad
And I wasn't far off because I had a conversation with the old listing agent. They were under new construction.
Oh, no. That breaks my heart.
It does.
Yeah.
It's tough, and it's like and I told the borrower, I was like, I am not by any means passing judgment. Whatever you do is your choice to make, but I have to tell you what's happening so that I can sleep at night.
Yeah,
because you have to. It's like you feel like
because
I don't owe that
equation.
person. Yeah, it's like it was an ugly thing. So it's like, yeah, you lost your earnest money and cool, but at the same time, it's like
you also just had
the
somebody
3 days. That's
house.
still a binding contract. The earnest money's not doing them any favors when they were expecting, whatever equity.
Oh, right.
In 3 days.
And to close.
Because 1% is much different than probably how much equity.
Gosh, see, that's just a nasty circle for sure. Because I mean, it's gonna come back around.
Because stuff happens that is out of the control of those who would like to control it, because we would keep a ethically correct. But people are people that don't know the business, and they do. With their whatever has to.
In the
happens.
beginning, I used my heart so much. I really did. Like, I was like,
probably got run over, didn't you?
Yeah. You know what? And I also fought with agents. I would be like, ready to go, But now I'm like, okay, take a breath, step back.
Yeah.
Remember that they're also an agent, and they are doing what their client wants them to do. And one of my biggest things,
the biggest growth.
Yeah, honestly.
You just said it.
Yeah, it's because I'm starting to remember. Like, my seller wants me to do this, and it sounds ridiculous.
Ridiculously horrible.
Oh my God! There's things that I'm just like, what does she want me to do?
Right.
But
because you know how many times, like my realtors will call me and be like, Jen, when you see this contract, don't you dare
don't
say anything. Like all the things that are written in it. But but you just said it though. Yeah. Like, that is when you know somebody has been in the business long enough to get it and become greater than they were when they started. I think that's the biggest growth in any industry. When you recognize that the people you're talking to, they are essentially partners to you, and they are representing somebody that does not know our business.
Yeah.
And they have to, what is that, fiduciary, whatever.
A fiduciary duty for us to
educate. So I gotta do this, even though this is dumb as shit.
I know.
But I get it. If it doesn't make sense to me, it makes sense to you.
Right, you know, and at the end of the day, like, I literally just say this every time. I'm like, we all have one goal, and it's to get your client out of the house and mine into it, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Why are we fighting about it? It's not our lives.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, don't get all... I actually recently just had to tell an agent, I was like, hold on a second. Like, you're yelling at me, and you're being extremely rude. And she goes, oh, I'm so... After I told her, she... backed down, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was talking to you that way. And I was like, well, it was pretty condescending, and I'm not the reason that all these things are happening in your seller's house. Like,
and sometimes once you call them out on it, they're like, oh shit, maybe I wouldn't be able to do it.
I'm like, here's the proof.
You know,
this inspection.
It's better to just say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. That's how I work. Like, I talk through my feelings.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so if I've ever, listen here, if I've ever hurt anybody's feelings, or somebody has a wrong understanding of me, I talk through my feelings. Like, if I'm mad at you, I need you to know, because you can rest assured, I'm not talking to anybody else about being mad at you except maybe my husband and you. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather get it out in the open so that we can figure out how to communicate better.
It's a process of elimination.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. This whole industry is. It's a very big process of elimination and figuring out what you are capable of. Honestly, every day is different. So that would be
I like that. I like that. Man, we hit on some really cool.
Yeah.
I tell you what, they didn't know we were so smart.
I didn't know I was.
But this is the side of the industry that I like.
Yeah.
And I like for people to kind of get a feel of like behind the closed doors and behind like obviously when you see Aimee, she's looking professional. She doesn't look like a Candyland queen, right?
Not all the
so
time.
it's like, hey, we're just trying to figure it out, just like whatever your gig is that you're doing. But anyways, but we do try to keep it neutral, and it's kind of like I always tell people, like when you're thinking back and forth with like partners and people you got to work with, it's almost like the politics thing. Like if you think of like one of us is representing this party, one of it, right? It's like, listen, I like whoever you like.
Right.
I'm voting for whoever you're voting for. Like it's like I have a due diligence to you.
You love this house, I freaking
whatever
love it.
makes sense to you. If you love these cute green walls and you just see it in your head, we can go with that.
Yeah, you know what? And there's people have different styles.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I have had a client who had what color was that? It was like a bright purple. And to buy the house sold, I mean, with a paint can.
Right? With a paint can. You know what though?
Everybody loves something different. It surprised me.
You can listen. I'm the one that will tell you right away. You might see something that I'll do in my house and be like, I'm gonna have to paint that wall before we leave. But it works in the moment, right?
Yes.
Because somebody will take a purple wall and do something like.
Well, right now my ceiling
cool
in my office is like dark gray, and I put like agreeable. It's not agreeable gray. It's like accessible beige. And it's really beautiful. But I bet y'all change my mind when we start to sell. One day I'm gonna go. I don't think that's gonna work. You never know. Yeah. But the dark ceilings are in right now, so you never know.
They are.
You never know.
Listen, I got a dark ceiling in my bedroom, and I wanted to change up the colors in there, and I was like, I'm not painting
It
it.
sounds like a pain in the ass.
I'm not
with
painting the ceiling. Yeah, I said I'm not painting the ceiling. Ceiling is gonna stay brown, and we're gonna get like a terracotta to like blend in. I was very, and then we put the wood and the terracotta, literally because I did not want to paint the ceiling. Oh my God, what a nightmare.
That is so funny, just to go over all around it. I know. Yeah.
paint around it.
Oh, yeah. That's what we've been up to too, is just doing random projects. I mean, like we did my son's room and we put floors in. And
that's the funnest part about being a homeowner, though.
Oh my God, or being a mom, just changing all that up all the time. You know, I had a nursery to do, and now I've got his room to do, and now he's growing out of his bed, so I'm like, got to figure out what bed next. You know, there's so many cool things about it.
That's the funniest thing about having the littles, because as they're growing, because like I have sort of like a little bit of ADHD, okay? Nothing I can't live with and you know, walk around like a normal human. But I get to like change his bedroom often. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, we're bored
well,
with this.
and he's like at the age where everything is different. You know, he's like growing
like 1 year
into
he loves this, next year he loves this.
Growing into a young man, and now he's among us.
When you paint dinosaurs all over the wall, okay, and you decide you're going to sell your house,
just make sure you cover that up.
Are you going to leave it like that?
Or you can do what I did. I painted his wall, but his stuff is like the peel off vinyl.
Oh yeah, that's
Those big, you can get
nice.
big vinyl things that literally look painted
I'm
on.
so bad at that because I'll just make the creases and the bubbles, and I'm like so bad at that.
Girl, I'll help
know.
you. Get a little credit card out.
Paul, listen, you wouldn't believe the stuff that we have to shoot sometimes.
Yeah.
And
But
it's
it's what
like,
I'm
we'll
saying.
go in
Okay, I
there,
want to hear
and
about
there's
the
zebra
weirdest
print
house he's ever
walls.
shot.
Right,
you
tell
know,
me.
There's zebra print walls.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and,
Look like a
stuff
little
like
porn
this.
studio.
But the funniest thing, yeah, literally, fur on the ceiling, and you know.
Right?
But no, seriously, the funniest one
Mm-hmm.
was a house we shot down in Galveston, and it was the exterior color.
Yeah.
Okay, and this was one of those. You remember the old "What color is that dress"?
Oh, the whole blue and black
Yes.
thingy, or what,
This
blue
was
and
that
gold, or
Oh, the dress
yeah,
that
the
like,
white and gold,
what color
or blue
is
and
it?
black.
This was
Yeah.
that all over again.
For real? Like you
Yes.
could see it and it looked
The
different,
house-
iridescent?
In my opinion,
Was.
I was like, this house is light blue, or kind of a light bluish, and Jeff,
Right.
my business partner, comes back and says, "No, it's a light purple."
Oh.
Okay. And we literally took the pictures to just tons of people, and we're like, "What color is it?"
this?
It's light blue. It's light purple. it's
Depending
light
on the
blue."
RGB.
So we take it back to the realtor, and we're like, "Okay, you got to settle this. What color is it?" It's like a light bluish purple.
Oh, it's all
Nice.
one.
I thought you were like, it's a misty gray.
Gray?
Dark
Big
colors
help,
like blue
thanks.
all the time.
But yeah, we run into that. I mean,
That's
just
funny.
these
That is
different
funny.
paint schemes and stuff, and
Uh-huh.
oh my gosh! And then they're like, "Well, can you just Photoshop that and make it look like agreeable gray?"
No,
You know?
ma'am.
I'm like,
Because
yeah,
when
we
they go
can,
see it, like,
but no.
we're not trying to make
Technically, yeah.
we're not trying to
Oh
make
my
little
gosh.
Instagram hoe houses.
Yeah,
okay?
Oh my
Exactly.
gosh.
So,
That is so funny.
I'm kidding.
well, sort of.
All right. Well, my goodness, we talked about everything.
Yeah.
We really did. I enjoyed you coming by. You will
Thanks
have
for
to come
having
back.
me, for real.
at
I
some
was
point.
like, you
We're
know,
taking a
I'm
break,
really
but you'll have to
weird
come back.
what is it? How do I?
You get no, but you get weirded about what? Like
About
videos?
being like in not funny videos so much, but I think just like being on a podcast and a video all at once, and I'm like, oh god, like
Oh,
I'm
don't
always
worry.
writing.
We
And
haven't
it's
haven't
like-
grown our platform yet, so
Yeah, but
you'll be
that-
fine.
But it's great to get me out here too, because I'm
It's just to
really
talk.
camera shy. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm not on a selfie. Call me any day for a selfie, but
Right.
you know, my kid, anything. But I'm on like live or anything,
Yeah.
like anything Facebook Live. I do not do videos for real estate, and I have to start. I'm like,
Yeah.
I have to start.
The more
I know.
comfortable you get
Yeah.
in front of the camera, the more you will naturally become
yeah.
great
Yeah.
in front of it. Yeah, and I just tell people, because we were talking about
Great
this.
job.
Shoot, AI is going to replace all of us unless
Oh my
we
God,
figure it
we're
out.
gonna be
So goodbye, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate you
Wonderful.
hanging out with us. So happy Halloween. Ooh,
From-
spooky
From
skeleton.
Little Debbie Shortcake,
What?
the Jamaican,
That's a little
little Debbie Shortcake, the Jamaican pirate, and Kurt Cobain.
Wait,
I'll take
Jack Sparrow's wife. That's more.